What the hell happened last night? The Broncos had us in the first half. They really did. This is your Denver Sports Daily for December 20th.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
The Broncos took a devastating loss to the LA Chargers last night. Not good in any way. Despite starting the game hot as a pistol, the Broncos could not close it out against the Chargers. The Broncos scored a touchdown on all three of their first drives, ending the half up 21-13, and it would have been 21-10 if the Chargers didn't take a free kick field goal. I think that's what they're calling it. I've never seen it before, and I guarantee most of you guys have never seen it before because the last time that this has happened was in 1976. So excuse me if I don't get the actual definition of this right because I'm still a bit confused on it. But from what I believe, the Broncos kicked off the ball on a punt. They punted it. Time expired as they punted it when they caught. The Chargers player that caught the ball called for a fair catch with 0 seconds left on the clock. From what I know, if you call a fair catch with 0 seconds left on the clock, you have the opportunity to kick a field goal free kick with nobody coming after you, no defenders attacking you, nothing like that. It's a free kick with just one person holding the ball. Why? What is that? That is not something that should be in the NFL. Are you kidding me? That's not fair at all. I don't like that rule at all, and I've never seen it done before. I guarantee most people who are watching the game were like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this before. Nobody's seen that before. I'm almost this much, like I'm this close to believing that the NFL just makes up rules halfway through games to decide the outcome. It was weird. I can't fathom how weird that was. I've never seen that before. But after that start to the first half, the Broncos could not find the end zone for the rest of the game. Now, the Broncos added 2 more field goals, but that could not overcome LA's late touchdowns, ending the game 34-27 Chargers. Now, Bo Nix looked great, recording 263 yards and 2 touchdowns on 29 out of 40 passing attempts. Great stats. Still, most of those yards came from the first half. Something in the second half was not clicking. That offense could not drive. Bo Nix was checking down the ball far too much. I've liked in the past when he's airing that out. I trust him. The fans should trust him. The team should trust him. And Sean Payton should trust him to air the ball out. Let him go for some deep bombs. Why are we checking it down when we're on third down? Why? It just doesn't make sense to me. They came out lackadaisical. They didn't look like they wanted to win. Now, Devon Vele, Michael Burton, and Audric Estime all got in the end zone for Denver. And Marvin Mims looked great again, recording 62 yards on 3 catches. And one of those went for 53 yards. And I will say that one was a check down as well. If you saw it, that was an amazing play and really, really amazing blocking on that one. But he just looked dancing up and down the sideline. When you see something like that, you're like, oh, yeah, no, the Broncos are going to win this game. He got that 53-yard pass to set the Broncos up in a position to score, and Bo Nix ended up passing to Vele for that touchdown. Now, with that loss, the Broncos are now 9-6, tied with the Chargers, and they drop to 7th in the AFC and hold that last spot in the wild card. This game would have been huge if the Broncos could have pulled it out. Huge. We're looking at playoffs. The fans are looking for playoffs. This is a game that you need to go out and win to get a playoff spot. There should be no reason you come out of the halftime with no ability to get in the end zone. Terrible. They look tired. The run game did play very well. I thought that the run game for the Broncos was better than I've seen in past weeks. But you're not going to win if you're going 3 and out. You're not getting down the field. You're not getting into a position where you can score. That's what happened with the Broncos. They were just not looking like they wanted to get in a position to score. They got comfortable with their lead. Going into the half, I will say, with a 21-10 lead is much better than going into the half with a 21-13 lead. So I do think that free kick field goal, whatever we're calling it, really set the Broncos behind. That is a huge game changer. That really is. And I'm not going to be one to blame the refs, but there were a lot of calls that could have gone the Broncos' way, and they could have really changed the game. Specifically, that Marvin Mims PI that wasn't called. If you saw that Marvin Mims is going up for the ball and you're getting your hand dragged down, that is textbook PI, should have thrown the flag. Another one, the Broncos defender was rushing Justin Herbert and pulled him down by the horse collar. That's a flag. But what you need to see on that is that Justin Herbert was also holding the defender's face mask, holding it, pushing him down. You got to call those plays fair. You got to call them fair. The Chargers only ended up with 2 penalties for 8 yards, I believe. The Broncos ended up with 8 penalties for something like 56 yards. That's not a winning formula, and you can't blame the refs. You really can't. You can't blame the refs. But there are certain times during a game where you see things that should have been called or should not have been called, and you say, that could really be a game changer. Now, what the Broncos need to do is win. All they need to do is win. Win one game, you get into the playoffs. Win one game, that's all they got to do. And there is a good possibility that this team can go in and cause an upset in the wild card round. There's a really good possibility. The Broncos are a sneaky team right now, to the rest of the league at least, and they are looking like they can go in and win a playoff game. All they have to do is get in. And games like this against the Chargers should be games that the Broncos can win. There are too many times the Broncos this season have lost games that they should have won. Now, the Broncos are good. I will say that. 9-6. 9-6 is a good record to have. That is a good record. But games like this need to be won to prove that you can win in the playoffs. Now, more bad news. The Nuggets lost to the Trailblazers in a really, really unfortunate way. Despite Nikola Jokic putting up 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists, MVP numbers, the Nuggets could not pull it out against one of the worst teams in the league, the Trailblazers. The Nuggets only held as much as a 9-point lead in the game, and overall, they didn't look very good. They didn't look good at all, even though the Trailblazers had a worse field goal percentage, worse three-point percentage, and more turnovers. Denver had 0 turnovers, and Portland had 10. How do you lose a game when you have 0 turnovers and you force 10? Don't understand it. Now, Jamal Murray, again, played pretty good. He played pretty good. He scored 24 points, on 9 for 19 shooting and adding 3 rebounds and 10 assists. Great numbers for Jamal Murray. He's now scored 24 points or 20 points or more in the past 3 games that he's played. That's what you need. That's what Jamal Murray needs to do. He needs to be a 20-point per game scorer, get 10 assists. Amazing. You get Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic putting up 50 combined points. You can't lose games like that to one of the worst teams in the league. Terrible. Now, the Nuggets came all the way back from being down 17 at the start of the fourth quarter, taking the lead with only 59 seconds left. And when you see the Nuggets take a late lead like that, how many times have we seen it in the past? The Nuggets climb back and they get the late lead and then they can blow it. Just not how you win. Somehow Anthony Simons was allowed to hit a buzzer beater to ultimately seal the fate for Denver, finishing the game with a final score of 126-124. Now, the Nuggets are now 14-11, and they fell to the 6th spot in the West. Their next game is going to be against the Pelicans on Sunday. Terrible. You can't lose games to the Trailblazers. You can't lose games to the Washington Wizards. You can't lose games like those and then go out and dominate the LA Clippers. What? No. That's not how you win. That's not how you play the game. Why are the Nuggets going out there and losing games that they should easily win? That is not this team. That is not the team that we've seen in the past years. In the past years, the Nuggets go out and dominate the Trailblazers. Damian Lillard can put up 13 threes in a playoff game, and the Nuggets still win against the Trailblazers. But they're losing to Anthony Simons on a buzzer beater? Are you kidding me? Terrible. Nikola Jokic can't be expected to put up MVP numbers and lose. At a certain point, it gets away from the players. At a certain point, this is no longer a player problem. At a certain point, this becomes a coaching problem. And I've stood by Michael Malone. I think that he's a great coach. He's a championship-winning coach. But you can't lose games like this. You go out and you talk about dynasty. But you're not winning games against the Trailblazers. You're losing on a buzzer beater. You're down by 17 points in the fourth quarter, and you want to talk about a dynasty. Not happening. That's not how that works. Michael Jordan was a dynasty. He didn't lose games to the Trailblazers like this. He didn't lose games to the worst teams in the league. The Golden State Warriors, dynasty. They're not losing games against teams who have 9 wins. Not happening. Terrible play from the Nuggets. Not what I want to see. Not what anybody wants to see from this team that is supposed to be in a championship window right now. And there have been a lot of talks about trades, especially with Michael Porter Jr. Those are not going to help. Bringing in Zach LaVine over Michael Porter Jr. is not going to help. That's going to ruin chemistry on the team. That is going to ruin one of the best rebounders on our team in Michael Porter Jr., one of the best three-point shooters on our team. And I get that Zach LaVine's a better three-point shooter and one of the better three-point shooters in the league. But at a certain point, you just got to say, you got to stick it right here. And this is the team that wins. This is the team that the Nuggets know. Those four players, Jamal, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, that's the team. You're not moving those players. You can't be expected to move those players and win more games. That's just not going to lead to a winning formula. Now, luckily and thankfully, the Avalanche were able to get a win, being the only team from Denver to do it yesterday. They traveled to San Jose and were able to leave with a 4-2 win over the Sharks. The Avs went up 1-0 early with a goal from Val Nichushkin, but that lead was lost quickly when the Sharks put up 2 goals. It was looking bad. It was looking bad after the Nuggets and the Broncos. I was like, are you kidding me? Are the Avalanche about to lose to the San Jose Sharks? Now, they put up those 2 goals in the second period, but in the third period, the Avs turned it up like they have been doing. They really have been getting into grooves where they can get into scoring positions and make a run. They scored 3 goals in that third period, 1 from Mikko Rantanen and 2 from Joel Kiviranta. Mackenzie Blackwood looked great, only allowing 2 goals and saving 32, recording a .941 save percentage. Really good numbers. Now, this game was the first time the Avs have faced the Sharks since giving them Alexander Georgiev, and he only allowed 27 shots while allowing 4, recording a .871 save percentage. It's what you know from Alexander Georgiev. The team knew this. They could go in and score on Alexander Georgiev because he hasn't been playing at a high level this season. Now, with that win, the Avs are now 19-15 and are tied with the Dallas Stars for the 4th seed in the Central Division. Now, that's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. I do want to read some of your comments. Joey, that rule has been around forever. You're young. Fair. But still, 1976, come on. I get that the rule has been around forever, but it hasn't been done since the 70s, the mid-70s. I get it's been around forever, but certain times you got to say, hey, let's get this rule out of here. Nobody's using it. We don't need it. I don't like it. And the Broncos maybe lost because of that. So I'm just going to say I don't like the rule at all. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Let's see. What else? A lot of blame to go around. Wish we had won this game. Anyone else sleep like crap. I was tossing and turning with dreams of the playoffs in my head, vanishing out the window. And I obviously overreaction. The Broncos are still in playoff contention in a really good position to win. But still, God, how much will a win there have been? How much fun would that have been? It would be so much better if I could come on this show today and talk about clinching a playoff spot. I would be having so much more fun with you guys. But instead, here I am talking about how we lost a game to the Chargers. The Chargers haven't swept the Broncos in a season in 14 years? Was it 2010? That's the last time the Chargers swept the Broncos? And now we're talking about it. In a playoff year. Come on. This was bad time management. Should have kept running the ball. I agree. Yeah, the run game was looking really good. The run game was working. Now, Bo Nix was also playing. The offense stats were good overall. But that second half, man, the offensive stats were inflated by that amazing first half. And then the second half just threw it all out the window. Did not look good. Let's see. What happened last night? What happened last night was Mackenzie Blackwood was great again and gave the Avs a chance to come back and win that. Georgiev lives on. I love Georgiev as a guy, but you get against these players that you used to play with and you know their niche, you know what you're going to be able to do, and the Avs did it. It was amazing. Yeah, no, great game for the Avalanche last night. The NFL wants the Bengals in the playoffs. I don't want to see that at all. I kind of agree with you. The NFL does want the Bengals in the playoffs. And to be fair, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they're fun to watch in the playoffs. The NFL wants them in the playoffs because they get great numbers out of that. I don't want that. Let's not get our hopes down. Come on. The Broncos are still looking really good. They're going to go out there and they're going to win next week. They're going to the playoffs, guys. We need to get this in our heads. The Broncos are the best we've seen them in years. And it's because of Bo Nix. The Broncos are going to go to the playoffs and they could win a wild card game. I see that happening. There's some vision in my head that's telling me the Broncos are one of those sneaky teams that could pull off an upset. And if the Broncos could have won yesterday and gotten that 6th seed and played the Steelers in the first round, how amazing would that have been? Russ and the Broncos playing each other in the playoffs. Hoof. Would have been great. Would have been great. Design screen, dude, not a check down. I get it's a design screen, but he's also just checking it down to Marvin Mims. He's just throwing the ball right to him. We're both right, I think. We're both right. Now that's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. We'll be back with you guys again on Monday. And then there's going to be a long break for the Christmas holiday, so I won't see you guys again for a little while after that. But for the rest of your weekend, y'all have a great time. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas if you're not tuned in on Monday. But until then, y'all have a great rest of your day. I will see you all later. Bye, y'all.